phrase marrying and giving in marriage, he was predicting the breakup of the family unit and the complacent attitude towards spiritual things and moral living. We see that happening today. The biblical model for the family is being shattered in modern society. Divorce, separation, and failed relationships affect millions of homes every year. Children from fatherless homes are especially vulnerable to suicide, criminal behavior, drug addictions, behavioral disorders, being rape victims or rapists, teenage pregnancy, and a higher risk of going to prison later in life. The Bible's prophecies are being fulfilled before our eyes tonight. What a tragedy that love has degenerated into sexual immorality in so many cases. And what a tragedy that homes are breaking up. We can thank God that whatever circumstances you find yourself in tonight, even if you are one of those statistics we've just looked at, God can heal your heart and your situation.
Amen.
God can give you a new sense of his love and care. He can put his arms around you, and he offers you a new future. Whatever mistakes you may have made, God can forgive you and give you a new start. Is that good news?
Amen.
We live in a world of rising crime and violence, similar to Noah's day. Genesis chapter 6, verses 11 and 12 state it this way: "The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth." In Noah's day, God destroyed the world with a flood because it was filled with violence and corruption. Is our earth filled with violence? It's a global concern. World governments are concerned about violence. 2014, the World Health Organization reported a shocking summary of the problems of global violence and the efforts to address them. 475,000 homicide deaths per year. 1 in 4 children has been physically abused. 1 in 3 women has been a victim of abuse. And 1 in 17 elderly persons has been abused in the past month. The Bible also predicts economic uncertainty as a sign of the last days. James 5, verses 1 to 3 describes it this way: "Come now, you rich, weep and howl for your miseries that are coming upon you. Your riches are corrupted, your garments are moth-eaten, your gold and silver are corroded, and their corrosion will be a witness against you, and will eat your flesh like fire. You have heaped up treasure in the last days." Revelation 18, verse 17, "For in 1 hour such great riches came to nothing." Wars have caused millions to flee their homes and become destitute, living in refugee camps. I visited several refugee camps in Africa just recently and learned that the average stay in a refugee camp today is 17 years. You think of that. Many of those people in refugee camps will never leave. Many children will grow up in a refugee camp. Stock markets have crashed. Earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, typhoons, floods, fires, tornadoes have destroyed homes, businesses, causing tens of millions of people to struggle to survive on very, very little. Jesus is coming. These prophecies are being fulfilled before our very eyes. Signs are being fulfilled. False Christs and prophets, wars and rumors of wars, cries of peace but no peace, famines, pestilences, earthquakes, sexual immorality, homes falling apart, violence filling our lands, economic uncertainty. All these signs are fulfilled. There's one more sign which will prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that indeed we are living in the very last days of this world's history. The final sign that Jesus gives of his soon return in Matthew 24 is the gospel being proclaimed to the entire world. Matthew 24 verse 14, and this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. Revelation 14 verse 6 also echoes this thought. Then I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach to those who dwell on the earth, every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. In Revelation, Jesus says, you will know we've come to the end by the final sign. When you see the gospel going quickly around the world, this prophecy is rapidly being fulfilled today. Today, the gospel leaps across all barriers through radio, television, and the internet. How many of you have a cell phone? Well, that's virtually everyone. Many people can receive text messages and biblical presentations right on their cell phones today. God is reaching people in every possible way. The message that you're hearing tonight is being shared here in Texas in 338 sites. So this is just one of 338 sites. It's also being shared on cell phones. It has been reduced to 8 to 10 minute increments, and people are sharing it with their family and with their neighbors. Hundreds of thousands around the world are hearing the gospel through their cell phones. God is reaching people in every way possible. In a mountain village of Southeast Asia, a remote tribe received a transistor